So now that your speech is organized and outlined, we want to think about delivering the speech and how to do this in a really confident manner. So here are a few tips that we want to think about. First of all, we want you to give your speech in what we call an extemporaneous style. What does that mean? We want you to prepare, we want you to rehearse. I don't want you to memorize it, and I don't want you to write every single word down and read it. Okay, that's not an extemporaneous style. We want you to instead present off of key terms that you can write down on a note card that you can speak from. Most of the words and phrases in your speech are going to be spontaneous. So if you gave your speech 3 times in a row, you'd really be giving 3 variations of a speech. It's not going to be identical every time, and that's what's great about extemporaneous speaking. This really encourages a conversational tone. So for example, if you were going to talk to your spouse about a really important topic, you would probably think it out. You would probably jot down some of your main points, maybe even practice it a little bit. But if you were to write down every word and then read it to them, that would be awkward, right? Or if you went into this conversation and just winged it, that would be awkward because it's such an important topic and now you haven't spent any time really thinking about it. We write differently than we speak, and that is why we don't want to write it out and then read it. If you've ever tried to transcribe someone's conversation, there's no formal wording, there's no formal sentences. It just doesn't feel quite right. We want you to use note cards, so you will be able to jot down your main points. Again, you're not going to write down every single word, but you'll be able to have the note cards. Now, some of you may say, well, look, politicians, they give speeches all the time and they read right off of the teleprompter, every single word. Well, keep in mind, they have professional speech writers, and the speech writers know how to write in a spontaneous manner that comes off at least appearing to be spontaneous. At a 100 speech level course, I don't expect you to be at that level. So this is why we want to be able to use more of this extemporaneous style. The next thing to keep in mind is eye contact. Eye contact is really important when giving a speech because it will help engage your audience and keep them engaged. Now, I know for some of you, looking in the eyes of another human being can really cause a lot of anxiety, and I understand that. So there's some tricks. When you're looking out at the audience, if you just look above their heads a little bit, you don't have to really look in their eyes, but it still allows you to take in the whole audience. So that's a little trick if that helps you. Next, vocal quality. You really want to communicate in an exciting and vibrant manner, right? So that your audience gets excited and will stay engaged in your speech. So you want to sound confident, you want to sound enthusiastic. Watch the ums and ahs. We often do them and we don't even realize we're doing them. So keep an eye on them. You want to vary your pitch, your rate, your tone. Get loud sometimes, get soft sometimes. Mix it up. That's going to help keep everybody really engaged. Your facial expressions are so important. Use your eyes, use your facial expressions. If you're happy, let us see that you're happy about the topic. If it's sad or serious, give that kind of look. Okay, your face can say so much and can really allow us to be engaged in what you're saying. Slow down. When you are nervous, you will speak at a much faster rate. And so you need to sort of remind yourself to breathe, to slow down. I even have had students write on their note card, slow down, just as a reminder as they're going through it to take a breath and slow it down a little bit. Gestures, body language, again, can be really engaging. Now, this is an area that I have a problem with because I like to use a lot of gestures. So I have to remind myself every once in a while to put the hands down, fold them, and not constantly be using them. So whether you use them too much or not enough, you want to think about those gestures. The other thing with body movement is that students will often get kind of dancing with their feet because they're nervous. So movement is fine, but the jittery movement you want to keep an eye on. So just be aware of that. Try and keep those feet planted if you're someone who jiggles around quite a bit. Okay, that's my advice on delivery.